Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in. This is your instructor Joy. Thank you all very much for your continued support. It means a lot to me. I truly appreciate. For those who are interested, please check my Patreon page as well, patreon.com/joylee. The link is in the description below. So this video will be for beginner violinists. The definition of beginner violinists is somewhat hard to come up because everybody's ideas of beginner violin is a bit different. But I came up of definition of beginner violin somewhat from very beginning up to 2 years playing on a regular basis, somewhat like that. Of course, it's different from person to person. Some people pass the beginner level after 3 months. Some people takes a little longer, a couple more years, and that's fine. Just take it as a guideline. It's not a must, or it's not the only way, but this will give you an idea what a beginner violinist, what I expect from my beginner students to have it mastered, so that you can take it as a guideline and have a little checklist, and so that you can move on to the next level and keep enjoying playing the violin. So I came up with 5 things on the right hand and 5 things on the left hand. So let's start. I put great importance of having nice tone, nice sound quality, because in my opinion, a violinist can be all in tune or wonderfully fast left finger playing, but if musician or any type of musician cannot produce beautiful resonant sound, it's very hard to bear, I think. So, excuse me, so I put a great importance having beautiful tone, which starts with a heavy proper bow grip. So I made other videos about the proper bow grip and different part of the bow. I encourage you to check it out. So basically the thumb stays near the middle finger, and then make sure your index finger is your driver. So wrap it really, really well all the way to the joint here, and then pinky at the tip like that. Common mistake that I see a lot of beginner players tend to take the index finger way out. So you want the index finger to be really wrapped around the stick well, but often a lot of beginner players tend to just keep the index finger straight or not wrapping the stick enough, but rather overpowering with a pinky like that. Pinky is a weak finger, you don't want to do like this, and not only you're going to hurt yourself, but you're not going to have proper control over your bow, which has a direct link to the nice tone. That's number 1. It's never, even for advanced player, that's something it's worth to revisit, having proper bow grip. Yeah, the big part that you want to check it, make sure your index fingers are well wrapped, because that's your driver, that's the main working horse. And then pinky, just touching lightly, because it has a very little function except the balancing the bow stick. Yeah, make sure you don't overpower that. And then another one when it comes to bowing is also knowing how to use whole bows. At first, because it's hard to use a whole bow, often instructors teach how to play just a little bow, but ultimately near the end of the beginner level you should be able to know how to go all the way to the front by using, when you're in the middle, you should be able to know how to use, how to raise your elbow and then also wrist. Yeah, so elbow gets higher, the wrist gets higher. Yeah, that way you can access the whole bow. Yeah, which will again give you a different type of fuller tone and warmer tone. Third one is knowing how to keep the bow in a specific spot. For beginners, often a lot of instructors give the very strict guideline saying keep the bow parallel to the bridge, which can be a little hard for us to see from the angle where our eyes are. But there's another video that I made showing you how to keep your bow parallel to the bridge by looking over 2 strings. That's one way of doing it. But simply just understanding importance of keeping bow in a certain spot, which will result, again, nice tone. Yeah, so that's what boils down to keeping the bow parallel to the bridge. So that's another one, important one that I want all my beginner students to have mastered before they move on to the intermediate level. Then when it comes to bow strokes, there are two things I want all my beginner students to have mastered, which are, so long legato, completely glued, no lifting, no pause between bows, completely connected. There's another video that I made, legato bow stroke with Kreutzer number 2 study. I encourage you to check it out. And also staccato. Common mistake that I see a lot of beginner violinists, when they do staccato, they press the bow in order to stop, and that's not what you want. You want the note to stop, but with a resonant sound. Yeah, always know how to keep your sound nice and resonant. That's very, very important. Last one is knowing how to play 2 or 3 notes in one bow, which we call it slurred notes. So you should be able to play at least 2 or 3. Yeah, and of course by using whole bows, that would be great. 5 things. Yeah. Now left hand, another 5 things. So I'm just taking a quick look at my notes. So now, make sure your left hand is correctly positioned. So make sure your left wrist is somewhat nice and relaxed straight, not stiff straight, but relaxed straight, and has to be right under the body. Common mistake that I see is the wrist bent like this and trying to hold it like that. The problem with that is you're blocking yourself and then you're already stiff before you start playing, and that's not a good place to start. So wrist stays relaxed straight and right under the body. This should not stick to the left nor right. About straight, right under the body. Another thing is try not to crunch too much. Give a little room between your neck and your hand. Yeah. If you're not sure, see if you can put a pencil or 2 between your violin. Oops. Between your violin and your hand. So just to make sure that you're not working too hard but leaving a little room. That's a very, very important one. And then, especially you should be able to do different finger patterns in the first position. For beginner players, it's mostly in the first position, but especially when I get a new student who's been doing only Suzuki class, they have one finger position is mostly like this, which is great. But we have to know there are other positions, not only between 1 and 2 or whole step, half step, and whole step. There's other versions of this. There's also other version of B flat, or something like that, or this, all that. So you should be able to do all different variations of first position finger patterns, all 4 strings. Meaning D major, A major, B flat major, E flat major, and so on. So you should be able to at least know first finger is not always here, sometimes here. Second finger is not always beside the third, sometimes beside the first finger, on and on. Yeah. Now, when it comes to specific technique, I want all beginner violin students to have mastered 2 things: natural harmonics and pizzicato and arco. Natural harmonics are something like this. We bring our hand close to the rib, but we don't press the finger very light. Very heavy normally, but touch it very light. So open A, natural harmonics. What I'm doing is I'm touching very light, not pressing all the way. Let's see if I can do G's maybe. G string. So I'm not pressing it hard, but very lightly. The D. So you should be able to get a little familiar with natural harmonics, because this will help you when you are in the intermediate level to higher positions and relationship of your left hand moving up and down. And pizzicato is something that we have to pluck with a finger. There are 2 ways of doing it. You hold the bow properly and just stick in index finger and pluck it. Or if you have to do many pizzicato, you can just hold it like any, grab it really strong, rest your thumb on the corner of the fingerboard and then stick your index finger. middle finger is easy, you can do middle finger as well. I prefer index finger like that. So you should be able to do pizzicato. And understand the term of pizzicato and arco. Pizzicato means pluck it either this way or this way. They're the same. Arco, A-R-C-O, means go back to bowing. Yeah, so that you understand the term. And then last, you have to know how to tune in fifth. We start first tuning with a tuner, and sometimes teachers tune for us. But at the end of the beginner level, before you move on to the intermediate, you have to know how to tune it. Just get the A from given A by tuner or your teacher. But you should be able to be able to tell whether you're in tune or not by playing two strings, which is perfect fifth. Or you don't necessarily have to know how to use pegs yet. That can be hard. You can still use fine tuners if you have it, but you should be able to tell whether your strings are in tune or not by playing two double strings by playing perfect fifth. Yeah. So I hope this gave you certain ideas. Of course, there are always more. There could be more or less, but this is a general guidance. If you have those 5 things on the right hand, 5 things on the left hand, you are on a good path. Yeah. I wish you all the best, and thank you for watching. And please let me know how your playing is going. And feel free to check out my Patreon page. Thank you. Bye.